why did I choose this position? You can spend an absolute ton of money on a rig to get around Australia, but you can do it just as successfully, and I'd argue have even more fun doing it in a normal car with some basic equipment. And that's how I like to travel. I think it's important that you do it in your way because it's your trip. So I think start with the way that start with the equipment that you've got, and start with the niggles that you've got from that equipment, because they're going to be multiplied by 100 once you're out on the road of Australia, and think about the way you want to live. For me, it's all about being nimble and not spending a fortune, and being able to have a couple of lightweight setups that suit the conditions. So I'm just going to show you a couple of bits of equipment that I've really enjoyed having and that have made my life on the road when I did a trip around Australia, bearable and manageable. And I hope that you find it useful. So probably the most important decision that you have to make is your bed. I started with a tent, and it was just a normal tent. It was a 2-man tent. And after a few nights on the ground, I knew that wasn't going to work. And I knew that I hated setting up that tent as well. So I would suggest something that takes a maximum of 15 minutes to set up as your basic sleeping accommodation, and something that is as simple to set up as possible. Really, imagine doing it in the dark, doing it in the rain, and you don't want to be messing around with complicated equipment that you hate putting up and pulling down. So I chose a swag. I'm going to show you that now. You could go for a roof tent. That's probably with the normal car. That's probably the next most obvious choice. But I loved this setup. After my night in a normal tent, I walked into BCF and saw a swag on a stretcher bed, and I thought that's brilliant. This one is from this one's from Wanderer, and what I love about the stretcher bed is that it folds up in one piece, apart from the two little orange crossbars. Really compact, in a long thin case. It's super strong, and it's really comfortable to sleep on. The other thing I like about the stretcher bed is I have a tent for when I'm a sun tent when I'm based in somewhere for more than a couple of days, and I can just sleep directly on the stretcher bed without the swag. The swag, I didn't really know much about what a swag even was, to be honest. It was something that I thought was something of ye olde Australian folklore, but they're a thing. This one is a Wanderer Extreme. They have a reputation for the poles breaking, and this one I did break a section of the pole, and I ended up removing the link and shortening that middle pole, because it's not really designed for sitting on the stretcher bed. I've just sort of I've just made this work, but I think you probably can get swags and stretcher beds that are designed to go together. But this works up absolutely great. I love it. And then inside I have my duvet and a pillow, and for me the comfort of having a bed off the ground with my bedding from my normal bed makes it pleasurable to sleep. I mean, there's something of a compromise on being on the road, no doubt, but this setup I really like. It works for me, and yeah, I'd say this can get up in around 15 minutes, and yeah, it's good for a night. If I do one night, it's fine. It doesn't give me any stress, and that's what you've got to think about is you're likely going to be spending nights here and there, and you're going to be camping on all sorts of terrain. You're going to have bitumen, stones, rock, stuff that's too hard to put a tent peg through, or you're going to have insects, the possibility of snakes. There could be anything on the ground. So I like being not on the ground, up elevated. It's nicer to be off the ground for me. So yeah, that's the way I do it. What's the next thing? So the next thing I think is really useful is an inverter. This one plugs into, I think they all plug into a cigarette lighter, or they attach to your battery directly, which is a bit more of a hassle if you've got a normal car. I'm not interested. I'm interested in it being simple to use for a normal person in a normal car, and something that fits into your cigarette lighter. It doesn't require any special wiring. What this gives you is a normal power point, which allows you, and this one's got a USB port as well, which allows you to charge your laptop and put your fast charger in for your phone. And when I find just using the USB port off of a car, I'm just not getting it charged quick enough. So having a normal power point is really useful. But do go into somewhere like Jcar, tell them what you're planning to power, and then they can advise on what they've got that might do the job for you. This is the most lowest power inverter. What is it? 300 watts. 300 watts. Yeah. So they go right up to I think it's 1500 watts or something. But take some advice and get yourself an inverter. They're useful. So the next thing to talk about is water. I bought this from a supermarket. It came with water in it, as well as a container. You can go to Bunnings and get proper ones. These things I've found work fine. For one person, I've carried a 15 litre and a bunch of smaller containers. So 1 litre or 500 mils, stuff that you're drinking out of. Imagine you're driving your car across Australia. You're going to go through lots of water as you travel. So having some smaller containers makes it more manageable than big guys. But I would recommend, for me, I've found, again, one person, I had a 15 litre container. I probably carried about 20 litres of water in total. And that worked well for me, being sort of out of range of water for around 3 days. So water containers, really important. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is safety equipment. And if you're traveling around Australia, you're going to be researching what you need to survive. And it's a good idea to do that research. And I can tell you what I've found to be important things to carry. And more importantly, what I don't carry, because being in a normal car on your first trip around Australia into regions that you don't know, it's important that you're not trying to be an explorer in a vehicle that you don't have. So here are the basic survival bits of equipment that I've found to be useful. So the first thing is a shovel, and I did my research on shovels, big shovels, fold-up shovels, and what I decided was this size shovel does the job, and you know what this is for. Do you need a bigger shovel? You could take one, but I decided not to take a bigger shovel because I thought if I had one, I might be tempted to go places in my two-wheel drive that I shouldn't go. So having researched how to dig my way out of a bog, I decided let's not get the shovel and let's not put myself in situations where I would need that shovel. Yeah, so little shovel. Tyre plug kit. I've never used it, have carried it. Pretty good idea, I think. Most four-wheel drives that are on the road around you will have pumps, so electric pumps, because they're letting down their tyres for going onto the beach and stuff. But if you can fix your own puncture, then all you need to do is find someone with air rather than get towed, which I think is a good idea. So I bought one of these, and yeah, it's a little bit of insurance. This thing I wanted to talk about because I've actually used it for a couple of different reasons. So what this allows you to do is jump start your car, and if you're camping somewhere without other people, which I love to do, finding your batteries flat, because you will be charging stuff with your inverter, and you know, you may leave your, who knows what you might do to flatten your battery. Batteries are fickle like that, sometimes they just don't start. But this allows you to jump start your car. So it's got a couple of jump leads in there. But the cool thing is that this can also charge your devices. So I use this, and it's got a little torch, and I use this you know, when I'm hiking and I want a bit of extra charge, I just take this out with me, and it gives me a bit of extra juice. So but it definitely, who would have thought that a tiny battery like this could jumpstart a car? Very cool. There are lots of sophisticated bits of towing rig. Again, the four-wheel drives around you are going to have, they're probably going to have winches. What they may or may not have is a tow strap. So yeah, I just bought a couple of shackles and a tow strap, and I've never used them, but I feel like you know, if I need to get towed from somewhere, that will give me you know, will make the job easier. So I don't know whether that's necessary, but that was a decision I made to take. I want to talk about tables. I don't know why, but this table has given me so much joy. It's made by a company called Ridge Rider, and it weighs about as much as a feather. It's easy to put up, it's really strong, and I just really like using this table. I think that's you know, you've got a good bit of equipment when it gives you no grief, and in fact using it gives you pleasure. And with all these things, you can experiment. You might have a table already, and maybe it will do the job. But maybe there's something better. Maybe you bought it a few years ago, and that's what I found with camping equipment. Things evolve, so always see what is on the market, because the stuff's really cheap and really light and really good. I nearly forgot about digital tools, which is really important. So I've found Wiki Camps is great. It's got an offline mode, so make sure you download the maps for states that you're traveling through, so you can, as you're rolling into camp just before sunset, which I love to do. I love that kind of unknown, unexpected, slight jeopardy thing, but finding a camp sometimes is stressful when you've been driving a long day and you really just want to set up camp. Wiki Camps will point out some places around you that are often free, have ratings and facilities, so that's a good one. Same with Google Maps. Make sure you download the maps for the states that you're traveling through, so that you can have directions to places. GPS coordinates of notable things can be useful. You can save them. You can save them as lists in Google Maps, so make sure you do that also, because it's not always going to give you directions to places offline unless you have them saved, I've found. And then think about how you want to document your trip. It's an incredible country, so get some kit that will do that justice. I love having an action camera just because purely for water stuff. Do get the flotation handle, or your GoPro might end up on the bottom of the ocean floor like one of mine did. You could get a drone. I've not done that, but yeah, I think if you're having an amazing experience, making sure that you've got the equipment to document it, and pick stuff that you're excited about using, not equipment that's going to be cumbersome and make your life a nightmare. I think you can do pretty much everything on your phone, apart from fly and swim. This is being filmed on an iPhone on a cheap little tripod. So yeah, think about how you're gonna remember this trip and how you're gonna do it with your digital bits. Anyway, that's a couple of thoughts. I'm sure you've got loads more. All right, the last thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap up, because I can use this as a handy little secret. Don't use your ESKI as a seat, that's not a good idea. What I was going to say is your choice of ESKI and where you place your ESKI is really important. So in a little car you're not going to have much space, so so I went for a little ESKI. This one is, I think it's 13 litres. It's tiny, but it's good for, I get about 3 days cool out of this, and enough supplies. I find after, by your third day, you're going to be looking for fresh supplies anyway. So that works for me. You can get electric ones, but where you place it in your car is also really important. So that could define the size of your ESKI, and you might get an electric one if you can power it on your little car. I just decided to keep it simple, and this one fits in the footwell behind the passenger seat or the driver's seat, and that's a handy place for me because I can just get it in and out constantly. And your ESKI is an important decision, so yeah, Anyway, anyway, that's going to wrap it up. They're just a few things that I think equipment that has made my trip pleasurable, or just given me some sense of safety in traveling around Australia. Tell me in the comments what you think I've missed. Tell me the equipment that you think should be on the essentials list for lean camping in a two-wheel drive. Anyway, have a great day. Bye.